There he is,
Mr. Chivalry.
Mr. Chivalry, man, the underrated, the underrated gamer in Skater Rap and Skater XL, man. You are the goat that nobody has heard of yet, really, man.
Yes, sir. The amount that I am underrated is rather overrated. I'm sorry. Let me turn that off real quick. I don't want all the notifications. Alrighty, I'm back. I haven't left, but I'm back.
For sure. Yeah, no, you go through a lot with the algorithms not wanting to promote your stuff. Not because you've done anything wrong, just I don't know, for some reason we can't seem to push your videos and get them found.
I mean, honestly, I've left a couple witty comments on some videos that I'm thinking they might not be so happy about, but nothing too crazy, you know what I mean? But they certainly aren't getting any likes from anybody.
You know, that's the weird thing with social media is when you're trying to if you just have an account because you want to be you, it's just a personal account, then you feel free to just go out and speak your mind. But when you are trying to build a platform, I find myself not commenting on other people's videos because I see a lot of TikTok accounts where people say, "This is my new account. My last one got shut down at 50,000 followers," or whatever they had, right? Like they had got to a point where they were building up an audience, and then for whatever reason their account got shut down. And I can't imagine none of the people that I'm seeing, like, they're not posting ridiculous content, right? Like, I'm assuming that they were reported, probably because they were writing comments that people didn't care for. They were writing comments that people didn't agree with, you know?
Yes,
So I've been
absolutely.
really careful trying to not comment on videos just because I don't want to say something that somebody disagrees with. And I hate that. I hate that it has to be like that.
For about a week there, I just got off of TikTok entirely, because I have a theory about it, okay? If you run with me for a second, let's say let's say 10 years ago you saw a duck running across the street and it just fell in the mud and then it just quacked and flew off, right? So that insignificant memory, it holds a spot in your mind, right? So for 10 years later, hey, you remember that duck, he fell in the street, whatever. And you're like, yeah, I do. So that being said, the way I see TikTok sometimes is whenever you witness something with any of your senses throughout the day, that data is stored in your mind. And when you are cycling through TikTok videos at your leisure and you see 100 occurrences of just random things, your brain has to process it and store it into your head for later. And I was just thinking to myself, what am I storing in my mind? Whether it's these, paintings where they use the drill and spin them, or these dance moves. So I just took a week off, and I just said, I don't know.
You think it's a waste of time? You think social media is a waste of time?
I don't think it's so much a waste of time. I think it's a lot to process subconsciously in a sense, because if you walk across the street right now and a car zooms past you and you almost get hit but you don't, that's an occurrence that you have to process, that you're going to remember. But if you see an equivalent type of video, I guess, then it's going to be like stored in your mind, like just anything really, anything that is TikTok worthy that you don't see every day is another thing that you're going to remember for a very long time.
So you're seeing a lot of meaningless content.
Essentially, there's some good
Yeah.
things, some funny things, but
Right.
a lot of it I just watch and I store this information. And I just got tired of it. And I said, I'm not tired of TikTok. I'm not bashing it or anything like that, but from my own personal experience, I got off the Instagram, I got off the TikTok, and I just kind of just for a week, I just didn't want to like live vicariously through an app. I wanted to just kind of see like what does my day provide for me in my own small world. Think local, live local instead of think global, live global.
Yeah, I've been trying to for quite a while now. I haven't been on Facebook in like 4 months, and I am trying to not use TikTok and Instagram for anything other than posting. Right, like I want to make my videos and help, just sort of like build an audience, but I also don't want to be sucked into it on a personal level and just be consuming meaningless content like you're talking about.
And I was wondering, because TikTok, whether you're a creator or a viewer, I believe they want you to be on their app, on their platform. They want you to invest some sort of duration of your time because that in turn drives revenue somehow, data collection, or that's a whole nother topic. So I was thinking if I took a week off and the only thing I did was upload a video and immediately get off whenever it was uploaded, don't even watch one video, maybe that would kind of spike the algorithm and it would try and entice me with views to get me more playtime on the TikTok, but that did not work.
Well, that's the whole thing. It becomes a whole guessing game. I did see a couple videos. There was a trend where people were doing that. It lasted for like a minute, but there was a trend where a couple people posted a video saying, "I made this account. This is my first video, and I'm not going to log back in until my birthday next year." And so then those videos blew up with like millions and millions of likes and tens of millions of views. But they called it out, right? And it's sort of like there was like a reason for people to engage with it, you know what I mean? But I don't think that it was the algorithm, you know what I mean? It wasn't the algorithm trying to, lure them back in. It was just they called out the fact that they weren't going to come back on the platform, and people were like, "Oh, that's interesting," right? Like I think what makes a video get a lot of views is it has to have something novel about it. And I mean, you know, Einstein's work was novel, right? So like it's not to say that like what we do can never be to that extent, but there has to be something about it that is novel. There has to be something about it that's different, that's unique, that is entertaining, informative, or any one of those, right? Or any mix of that. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I remember I sent you that one article I found online how when you post a video, that TikTok will, through an hour to 4 hours, they will display it in front of 500 viewers and then see what kind of impact it has on them, whether they watch the whole thing, they comment, share, what have you. And then at that point, it'll decide how much it'll put you on the front line rather than back on the bench.
Yeah, see, that was an interesting article because what they were talking about in that was all these different forms of interaction, whether somebody comments or they like the video or whatever. And they were talking about like each of these interactions having a score, as in like somebody shares your video, that's worth 2 points. Somebody comments, that's worth 3 points, right? And I don't know how you could ever figure out. I don't know how you could ever decipher what's going on to such a science like that. So I don't know that I believed in the scoring system, but I did take that article and the ideas within it and put it to the test on my own videos. And I did one video where I tested the watch time, and I found that anything over 22 seconds gets pushed. Then I made a video talking about that finding, and then I said, let's see if comments help the video get pushed. So then that video got like 6,000 comments, and that video got pushed. And then I made some other videos where I didn't do that, and those videos didn't go anywhere near as far, right? And then I did a video where I said, you guys should follow me, and the the follows ended up getting the video pushed more than other things. So it was interesting to see that interactions on a video can make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, it seems like especially the follows. I don't know that I could ever. I don't know that I could ever find out so much that I would say this is worth X amount of points. This, you know what I mean? I would never create a scale where it's like this is more meaningful than the other thing. But consistent interactions on a video seem to have an impact.
And I think the follow is the greater form of currency when it comes to TikTok because, I follow you, so anytime you post a video, it says, hey, Golden Thumbs posted a new video, and then that in turn draws me back onto the app itself.
That's interesting. That's interesting to think that they would want people to follow each other for that reason, because it's a way of getting people to come back onto the app.
So I think when someone follows you, it boosts momentum. Sharing boosts momentum. I think when somebody comments or likes, it maintains momentum.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you get notifications that I post a video?
No, I turn them. I turn it off.
Okay, but that is a thing then. There are notifications from TikTok.
Yes, sir. So I followed like 40 people, and then I just like, what am I following them for? You know, because honestly, like I'm a romantic, Mr. Shivery. You know, so I see all these beautiful women. But like I was saying earlier, at the end of the day, you know, that's all I'm filling my mind with is these beautiful, graceful women dancing around on roller skates, and then you turn off the phone and you're like, hello, life. So I unfollowed a bunch of people, but I think I have like 10 people I'm following now, including yourself.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, that's the whole thing. There's a really good documentary on Netflix called the Social Experiment or something like that. I don't know what it is, but they talk about the algorithm and how it pulls people in like that, and they do a really good job at sort of showing the mind of the algorithm. Like they have like people working in this little lab, and then so anytime a person puts their phone down, they'll be like, oh, Johnny put his phone down, we gotta get him back on the app, so they'll send him a notification, you know what I mean? So they sort of bring it to life and help depict it in a way that's relatable to more people, you know. It was an interesting movie or documentary, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, sir. I haven't seen that one. I did watch the Snowden one, but I haven't watched the Social Experiment one as of yet.
Yeah, Snowden's that whole Snowden thing scared me when I started realizing he started saying things along the lines of, they can listen to your phone within like 150 feet. Like your phone can just be like recording you from like 150 feet away. Like that's powerful.
Yes, sir.
That's powerful.
I think in optimum conditions it could record that, but I think it would have to be a highly what is the word, sensitive microphone. But I'm
True. So you're not going to get a phone. You're not going to get a flip phone from Walmart that's going to do that. Yeah, it's
if I
true.
was like in a gymnasium by myself, maybe so. But I imagine you put it on the coffee table, you're in the next room, it might pick up on you and stuff.
Right, right. So, all right. So we have some new Skater XL content dropping very soon. Probably by the time this drops, by the time this podcast episode drops, I'm sure the new content for Skater XL will be coming out as well. What date is that coming out?
The 15th, I believe. I think that's going to be on
Okay.
Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Well, this will come out on Thursday, so yeah, it'll be out by the time this is out. So, what are we expecting from that? What are they dropping?
I believe they're dropping. I mean, they've been putting on posts about different apparel pieces, a couple new boards, you know, shirts and shoes, and they're adding socks to it, you know, for whatever that's worth. And then I believe they're going to add the created maps. Perhaps I don't think it's going to be just like a criteria search engine where you can just get any map online. I think they're going to just introduce a handful of them and then periodically use that as updates to keep people interested in the game.
Yeah, see, that was what I found interesting. I wasn't sure if that's because they're limited on technology. Maybe they only have so much money and time and resources. Like, couldn't they build something like Skate 3 had, right? Where anybody can make a map and upload it, right? Are they not doing that because they're limited by their resources, or are they not doing it because they want to control the professionalism of the game? Where you don't have like a cow standing in the middle of a skate park. You know what I mean? Like,
I think they are tapering the updates. It's hard to tell what they're going to do with Skate 4. You know, Skate 3, the whole Skate franchise up until Skate Skater XL, the whole Skate 3 franchise, whatever, it's a machine, you know, it's a beast of a simulator compared to Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk, you want cartoon, arcade stuff all day, that's all you, I'm happy for you. But the Skate 3, as far as being an actual simulator, the whole series, it's wonderful. And then that was the limit that they have, that one of the limits that differs from Skater XL is the amount of mappage and gross area that you can perform your simulation tricks. So I think they are going to just taper off on the updates for Skater XL and just, you know, because they put 1,000 maps on, you know, and on Tuesday there's 1,000 maps you can skate. Okay, cool. Then you know what's going to be the next big news about the game? Perhaps multiplayer, but you know that could be a year down the road. So I think it might be like every 2 months they have verified downloadable content that they're going to add with the update.
I think that works in the short term. I think that will be fine for now while people are still playing it, but eventually they're going to want to move on and they're going to want to do other things. They're not going to update the game for the next 50 years. And I just feel like there needs to be a way for people to maintain the game themselves. And this is something I was getting into with, I think it was Couch Party. He's the #1 ranked player in Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And we were talking about how the games are still being marketed the same way they always were. There's no thought about how creators play a role in video games other than they make content, and people just suddenly become YouTubers, right? Suddenly just have people making content, throwing it on YouTube and calling it a day. But there's no like real involvement with the creators. Like these developers need to find a way to build social media into the game where they're developing things with creators, or they're developing things specifically so that people can create more content, right? Like they're still focused on the users, which they need to be, but you can't keep reaching you're going to plateau, right? You're only going to reach so many people when you first launch the game. In order to continue reaching people long term, you need to be involved with creators. I don't see anybody innovating the way to market these games. And I don't know exactly what it needs to look like. What I just said was just a bunch of rambling. Like, I don't know what that needs to look like. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll be very loud and clear about it when I do figure it out, what it needs to look like.
Absolutely. So, like, PC had the early release before anything, I suppose, because of the engine that they have with PCs, and it's more, I don't know if malleable is the word, but it's more like universal, I guess, in a sense, than putting it on a controlled platform like PlayStation or Xbox. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to listen to a lot of feedback that they get from the PC players and all the little improvements they've been doing, like that extra ambient noises and the sizes of the boards and such. I think because one guy, he created a I'm lost for words. I'm on. You're on air. Pick your word. So one guy, he created that engine where you could join a multiplayer group in Skater XL and skate around with friends and stuff like that. So I think perhaps that they will take note of these innovations that I don't want to say hackers, but the modders have made on the game, and they'll introduce those um, across console.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, it's just PC. When you see what people are doing with the PC version of the game, it's just so far beyond what is available with the console version of the game. And the console player, and it's I understand there's limitations and whatnot, but the console players are the most prevalent players. Like you're going to sell more console games than you are PC downloads.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Because consoles, or not consoles, I'm sorry, the PCs, they can get rather expensive whenever you start racking in the bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of Skate 3, what do you think is going to look? What can we expect from Skate 4? Because some people are saying I heard that there's this thread going around on Reddit where people are talking about Skate 4 being the same as Skate 3, like almost no different. And that's probably just speculation. There's probably no evidence of that, right? But what are you expecting out of Skate
I'm
4?
thinking with the texture packs and the because in my mind, nobody knows, but in my mind, I don't think they're gonna release it on PS4 or Xbox One or whatever the new one is. I think they're gonna release it on the newest console so they can be up to par with the high definition. Because I don't know if you've ever played Minecraft. It has like the simple little cartoonish grass and everything, but you can actually download texture packs where it looks super realistic, and I think that's what they're gonna try and drive with Skate 4.
So you think there's going to be downloadable content?
I would hope so.
You think that's going to be a big part
I
of
mean,
it?
they've already, well, not so much in the theory that you can download the texture packs, but that's what they're going to focus on entirely. Because you look at Skater XL, in the right lighting, you can be like, hey, I almost thought that was real. And then you look at a game like Session, and that one's look pretty realistic and everything. But those were both released on PS4 as well as Xbox One. Now the new consoles with the PS5, when the hardware they're using on that, I think it could be pretty incredible. And I think that's why they're setting the date out further so they can have their programmers actually develop and cater to what the PS5 and the Xbox can do so they can just have ultimate realism in it.
That's interesting that they might be waiting just so that they have a better quality platform to build off of. That would be interesting. I'm hoping that if I mean that they're going to have better quality than Skate 3, right? And I would hope that with that they end up making this almost more like a NBA 2K game, right? Where you have this player, it's this high quality vision of what a player can look like, and you can go through like this story mode with them, right? You can sort of, I want something that feels like I'm going through the life of a skateboarder. And in Skate 3, they kind of had that where you would do these challenges, but again, I think that's an area where we need to innovate and we need something different than these stupid little challenges because it still feels like the Tony Hawk days from the 90s where it's like, do this, do that. And it's like, I don't want that. I want something more, I don't know. I don't know what it needs to be, but I know it needs to be more I don't know. It needs to be different than just a silly little, do a tray flip, do a 360.
Absolutely. With the quality that Skater XL presents, I have no anticipation personally for Skate 4. Only just a curiosity, just to see what it's like and stuff like that. But now that Skater XL has transitioned the control to independent analog sticks, I think that's top tier in control as far as the skateboarding simulator goes. Skater XL or Skate 3 is good, but it's like, it used to be 4 buttons on Tony Hawk, 8 buttons that you hit, 12 buttons, to do a trick. And then it switched over to 2 analog sticks and maybe a couple grabs with the triggers, and now it's switched over to both analog sticks, both feet, trigger, steer, 4 pieces of controlling equipment, and then you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm finding that as all these controls switch from one game to the next, it's making it harder to go backwards and play older games. Like, it's making it really hard for me to go back and play Skate 3 now because I'm so used to the controls on Skater
Hmm.
XL. I kind of wish they would all just stick to the same thing.
I heard that the Skate 3 or Skate franchise, I heard they almost like patented their control arrangement that they had with the board, and that's what kind of drove Skater XL to entertain having 1 analog per foot.
See, that's when business gets really complicated, right? And that's when it's like, well, you don't want to say that like patents are bad, but when it stops when it stops the people from having a good experience and a consistent experience, it becomes
Hmm.
problematic. That kind of upsets me if that's the truth. I don't care for what the Skate franchise has done. I mean, if that's true, I really don't care for that. And the fact that there was 10 years between the release of Skate 3 and the announcement of them working on Skate 4 is just absurd. 10 years after Skate 3 comes out, they say, "We're getting started on it." Not, "We started on it 5 years ago, we're almost through." 10 years. That's a
Oh
long
yes, and
time.
I bet they made some pretty good.
People go from grade school to college graduate within 10 years. Like, put that into perspective. People go from babies to like riding their bikes, and some people are professional athletes by 10 when it comes to like skateboarding. Like, what these kids are doing these days, they're doing backflips at 10 years old on
Hmm.
skateboards.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. What was I gonna... Oh, it's one of those moments where I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no.
That's all right. You're just
Just
on
hold
mute.
on to
No
the moment.
pressure.
Yeah, because they had success coming out of the gate with Skate. People got. I remember when Skate first came out the demo, I'd get dropped off at the Target like 2 miles down the road, and I'd just keep replaying that 15-minute demo. And then Skate franchise made money, but I heard after Skate 3 they disbanded, and that's why they did not come out with the Skate 4 at that time. So I don't.
Yeah, again, another moment in history when they let business get in the way of just making a good decision. They probably signed this 3 game contract, right? Just like you would see, three movies, right? Like you see the main movie and then a couple sequels after it, right? Like Saw 1, 2, and 3, right? Like they probably had like we're gonna have Skate 1, 2, and 3. They knew they were gonna build all 3 of them, which is why they did them so consistently over a short period of time. And they said, well, that's up. Let's move on to other things. Instead of just looking at the numbers and saying, well, Skate 3 is doing really good. I compare Skate 3 to a Disney movie. And I've said this before. Skate 3 is like a Disney movie. A Disney movie is going to last forever. A Disney movie is always going to be picked up in a bin at Walmart. Even no matter how cheap it gets, it's still always going to be picked up. No matter how old it gets, it's still always going to be picked up and watched. And the same thing is true with Skate 3. There's still little kids this year on Christmas who will get Skate 3 for the
Mm-hmm.
first time. And that's saying a lot considering it's 11 years later.
And honestly, Skate 3 has kind of held its value. You got like NBA 2K16 or something, it's like 99 cents at the store, but Skate 3, you're at least spending $15.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So it is. Oh, go ahead.
I
So
no, go ahead.
it's good that they came back, 10 years of complaining online and you finally get, just the slightest pulse out of them. But like I said, Skater XL, like I said on the previous podcast, as soon as that came out, Tony Hawk was like, wow, there's still a community that actually will play the game when it's a rainy day outside, and it lit a fire underneath Tony Hawk's, I forget the name of Activision or whatever, to actually remaster the game, which I think was just kind of goofy. But that's my own opinion. I won't get into that. But then that kind of, I guess the Skate 3 people, they saw, hey, Tony Hawk's even doing it. Maybe we should kind of get the whole gang back together and sit at the computers and such.
Well, let me explain it to you how Couch Party explained it to me when it comes to the Tony Hawk and the remakes. So he was saying that as each Tony Hawk game came out, they would try to innovate. They would try to do something new. And eventually they expanded too far. It got to the point where there were games like Tony Hawk Shred, where there was a real skateboard that you would buy. It was like a Wii controller almost, but you could use it on any console. And so you'd be watching the television and you would be standing on this skateboard on the ground, right? And you would be popping the skateboard around to do tricks. Um, so he was saying that they expanded too much, and now they're just trying to get back to their roots by just remaking the games that they know people loved.
I personally feel like Tony Hawk is a, what is the word? I think he's like a sellout, honestly. I'm sure he's a good man. I think he's like a sellout, and he's just like a poster boy of just franchising or corporateizing or whatever the word is. I don't know. Just the sport of it, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like baseball, everybody loved baseball, but the baseball league, they wanted to monetize every single thing about the game. And that's why you just don't hear anything about baseball no more, even though there's wonderful people, you just don't see nothing about it. And I think Tony Hawk, they just got so caught up in the arcade effort about it. Because if you remember the first 1 and 2 Tony Hawk, then you had Love Park, you had the Leap of Faith, you had wonderful levels that you can just tear into. And then when it got to the third one, then you have Canada. Then you have all these disproportionate obstacles in the game where you're just leaping 100 feet across the map and doing a Madonna 720 to a blunt stop, whatever, you know what I mean? It just got out of control. But it was the only thing that we had at that time as far as skateboarding goes.
Yeah, I think they innovated in the wrong ways. They innovated in the wrong ways. They had a good idea with the first and second. The Underground series was good. They had other good series, but yeah, they innovated in the wrong ways. Skate 3, Skate 1, Skate 2, and Skate 3 were all the right ways, the right direction to go. All right, but they sort of missed the mark on that, and when they just tried to stay within their own lane rather than just trying to
Mm-hmm.
switch lanes.
I think even like with fingerboards, if you look at a lot of the stuff that Tony Hawk puts out through Tech Deck Outlet, a lot of them are just not proportionate whatsoever. Whether it's transition or the actual height or length of an object, it's just quickly packaged, sent out, put on the shelf, buyer beware type of thing like that. Where if they would actually focus on proportions and realism both in the tech deck community and as far as the skateboarding simulators on consoles go, I think that's the best bet.
Yeah, that's what happens when you just sort of let somebody license your name and just go about go manufacture it without you. Yeah, I can understand. Well, it's a tough position he's got to be in a tough position like that where people want to use his name and his likeness, and, he knows that it's going to sell. But at the same point, he's not a manufacturer. Like, he can't go out and build the tech decks himself. He can't go out and develop these video games. He has to rely on these other people. And, there's just times when people don't want to do things right.
They start ordering from China and everything. I mean, I respect the man. He built some of the sport up as well as Day One and Mullen, but I'll still shake his hand and everything. But I've met him before in person. I'm just like, oh, hey, cool, what's up, Tony? Then I just go back to what I'm doing and stuff. Oh yeah, he
Did you
came
meet
down
him
to
in
Dallas
person?
for the Boom Boom Huck Jam, where he was with Matt Hoffman, I believe, Bob Burnquist. I don't even know if Matt Hoffman was there, but Bob Burnquist was there, and they were doing this whole little spiel. It was when Tony Hawk Underground came out.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it wasn't too bad.
You met a lot of professional skate. Well, you met Cody
Absolutely. I was
McIntyre.
actually in one of his little videos he has on his Instagram. I was standing in the background recording him. I actually positioned myself in order to be in
That's
the
wild.
video so I can look at it later. Cody McIntyre is a legend. He has traveled the world. He has been on SLS. He has been on X Games. He's done gaps that don't even exist anymore. He's stapled himself in the history, and he is one of the most humble people you'll ever meet.
It's interesting. I think sometimes people are just more. Some people are just like meant to run into celebrities because you also
Yeah, I met
met
Lil
Lil
Wayne.
Wayne,
I
right?
met Andre 3000. When I was
That's
little,
crazy. And there's video of it too. Like, you're not just saying this. Like, there's actual video of you and Lil Wayne. Like, it's interesting to me when people I've never run into a celebrity, right? But yet I have a friend who was on the same plane as Kris Jenner, and he was in some paparazzi photos one time with what was her name? Really, really famous actress. And it's just like some people are just meant to like run into these people, and the rest of us aren't. Like, I've just never run into
I
any
mean, you're all the
celebrities.
way out there, almost in the sticks, pretty much. I'm down in the third busiest city in the nation. So I see people now and again.
That's true. It does make a
I even
difference
met
where you
that
live
when I was
sometimes.
little in California. I met that girl that was in Casper. So I met her at the airport,
Okay.
and then I was probably like 10, 12 years old. I went to church one evening. It was like a Wednesday night session, and we had a musical performance from No Doubt before they actually made it big. So,
That's crazy. I didn't realize for the longest time, I didn't realize that I was literally around the corner from Meek Mill. I didn't realize that I lived and was skateboarding around the corner from where he lives, essentially. I I didn't find this out until years afterwards. I don't live there anymore. But when I used to live where I was, I was very close to him. I couldn't believe it when I realized he was right under my nose the whole time.
it was
But see, that's what I mean is like some people are meant to just like run into these people, and the rest of us, like me, are just not meant to run
I
into
mean,
these
it,
people.
it kind of humbles you a little bit, honestly, because, I seen Andre 3000. He came into the gas station. He had his little beanie on. He was trying to just be amongst the people, and I could tell that immediately, because he doesn't want people in his face all day long. So I said, "Hey, how's it going, Andre?" And, he looked up. He was on the phone as well. And he's just like a little head nod to me, and then he just went on about his business. And it's like later on, you see him, I think he was, well, I don't recall if he was in Fast and the Furious and things. Anyways, you see him in all these
I
huge
don't remember.
movies. You see him doing the Outcast music videos, and you're like, wow, like that guy is a real person. You obviously know they're real, but you just can't comprehend because you're just so saturated with their success. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool. I sold him a 20-ounce Dr. Pepper. That was it.
Hell yeah. What have you been doing with Skater app lately? Have you, because they're coming out
Yes,
with an
sir.
update.
I saw that because they finally responded on somebody's malicious comment that they left on their post. We're updating the game.
Well, and that wasn't the only time they've been responding, but they keep saying we're working on it. Like anybody could say anything, and they'll just say we're working on it. So there's no clarity around what they're doing. We don't know what they're working on, but apparently they're working on the app.
I think they are almost listening to what's coming through on the Skater XL, and now I don't want to say Skater XL is funding their progression with the app, but I think they're realizing that we can make an incredible pocket. It's already an incredible game, you know what I mean? People hate on it. True Skate's better, but it's like it's a wonderful game if you just want to throw down some tricks. You've been thinking about something all day. You want to do a caballero kickflip, no slide, big spin out. Just knock it out. You'll be done in 30 seconds. So I I think they're finally. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's a game that's meant to be played like that, similar to the skate games, right? It's not meant to be played like how you would play True Skate. It's completely different.
And I think they're tired of getting all the hate mail too.
Yeah, they probably are, man, because everybody talks about the. But here's the thing: I think they're being forced into making this update because as soon as the latest Apple update hit my phone, I no longer can save videos from the app in good quality. Meaning, when I do a trick in the game and I save the video, the quality of the video is degraded, like to the point where I don't want to post it. So now what I have to do is I have to screen record and then do the trick. So I have to be screen recording my entire session in the game just
And
to film my
that's
tricks.
I think the quality of the iPhone, the files that they're using when just like when you used to have an iPad or iPod, when you would upload
Yeah.
any sort of MP3, it would convert to be in the iPod specific file type. So I think when you record
Okay.
something in game and then you save it to device, I think the transition there is extremely grainy and it doesn't transition well.
Yeah. See, so, you know, the other thing too with, I think, so like I was saying, I think they're being forced into this update, right? And the other problem that I'm hearing a lot of is people not being able to get into the game. And I can't either. I have to put my phone into airplane mode in order to
Hmm.
open the game. And I started getting a lot of comments on my videos of people saying, "Hey, I just bought the game and I can't play it." And I'm like, "You got to put it in airplane mode now," and that's ridiculous. You can't sell a game where people can't play it, or that they have to put their phone into airplane mode in order to
My
play it.
only, I mean, I can live with that because at this point I've of course already unlocked the levels, so there's not any sort of further complication other than put it in airplane mode. My major problem I've had with it that really isn't a problem is I've never been able to sign in via Google. I'm always, random user 775A whatever, instead of my name and stuff. Like people want to know who did
Right.
it. I did it, all right. But everybody else seems to be able to sign in.
Yeah, I can't sign in either on Apple. Um, So they definitely have some pretty important things to fix. I mean, the game works, right? Like you can play the game, but some of those other things are kind of problems. So I just feel like they're being forced into this because they've chosen not to update it for so long. I mean, it's been so long, so many comments, so many thousands of people asking for updates, and they never did it. Um, and updates are just part of being in the app world. If you're going to have an app, you need to be willing to do
Yes, sir.
updates.
This will sound incredibly self-centered, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, but with me getting on top of the Love Park building, I feel I am the only one who has ever actually beat the game. Which is debatable. It's debatable. I mean, you got your tricks, I got my tricks, but I've hit everything, every spot. Whatever.
Yeah, no, we need to continuously talk about your because not enough
They're
people have
sleeping.
seen that video, man, where you were at Love Park and you found this glitch on the bench where if you hit this bench at the right angle, it'll pop you into the air and then you can land on the circular building at Love Park. And we haven't seen anybody else do that. We've seen all the skater app videos that exist, and never once have seen anything even remotely close to that,
I will pause you
which
right
was
there, and
insane.
I will emphasize that it is not so much a glitch, more than a manipulation of the game's inner physics with my understanding. I
Isn't
mean,
that what a
whatever
glitch is?
Webster, Webster, you go right by the dictionary.
The manipulation of a video game is not intended. The
You know,
unintended
because I
manipulation.
went fast, I hit it, I jumped up there, voila. And I did that other video where I jumped through the Love Park sign. I did like a 540 hard flip or something, and I just barely like shot the gap. And that one got 27,000 views in like 12 hours. And then getting on top of Love Park,
Yeah, that
like
was really cool.
48 hours, I just got 1,200 views. And it's like, geez, makes me just want to go buy a burner
Yeah.
phone and just put TikTok on there, so like they have no idea who I am, and maybe it'll just like skyrocket and stuff.
Well, that's what Propstu was saying in the last episode. Was that I was telling him that I feel like I'm pigeonholed, where if I try to post anything that isn't Skater app, then TikTok does not promote it. And so he was saying that while he doesn't believe that's the case, he was saying that he has heard of people that do believe that's the case, and so they do go get other phones in order to create an account on that phone, and just make other content.
Mm-hmm. I only have one phone. If anything, I'd buy like one of those old Nokia candy bar phones that doesn't even have a camera.
A
I'd have to
candy
write
bar phone.
binary
I
code
remember
just to post a
those.
video.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll get you going. We'll try. We'll keep trying to get you in the algorithm. I don't know what else I can do. I've tried replying to your comments. We've done over 1 million views of videos where you wrote a comment on my video, and then I replied to the comment and did the trick that you requested. That didn't work. So we just got to keep
Yes,
pushing, man.
sir. And I've been trying to do some NBDs on Skater XL. Never been done for anyone who don't know it. And I feel like I've hit one or two on there, but they just don't get traction. So I've been working on my sound selection, the duration of time the video is, and like I said, I'm trying to do something that hasn't been done since it is so early in the game. And since Tuesday is coming up, I'm trying to knock out every single thing that I can, even if I jump out of the map and find a spot that's not evident in the skateboarding community as far as Skater XL goes. Because that's how it was for me with Skater, the app. Everybody like, oh, there's nothing left to do, and it's like, well, hey, this level, I did this. I've never seen it before, so there's one thing for you could do, and then I'll just go to each level and just find whatever I could about it.
Do you really think this update is going to be a big deal for Skater XL? Do you think it's going to drive a lot more people to the game and
I
keep
think
them on the
honestly, a
game.
lot of people are so focused on the wrong things. They're just like, oh, I can't get off my board, and I need a story, and it's that's cool if you want a story. There's nothing wrong with having objectives and a storyline in a simulation game of all things. Even with the football games, you have the franchisee game mode where you can build your players, yada yada.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's
for
what I
for
like
me,
to
I just
see.
call it what it is. It's a simulation, and the only story mode I have is my comprehension of the physics and the mechanics in the game and what I want it to do. So that's my story mode. I think a story mode, I want to say would be worthless, but I don't think it is one that will complement it too much.
Well, exactly. I don't, and this is what I was trying to get at earlier, was I don't think the way story modes have always been done in skateboarding games is the way to go. I think they are meaningless when it's just do a 360 off of this ramp. That is meaningless. It just teaches you how to play the game, right? It's more so a tutorial of how to do different tricks and pushing you to try new things. It The story mode needs to go beyond that. I don't know what it needs to look like yet, but it needs it. But yeah, it would be meaningless if it was just do a
And
180,
that's
do a
where I think
kickflip.
the Tony Hawk franchise just kind of lost their way when you have to start bringing in skateboarders to stand in sound booths and just record, and we're gonna go to Skatopia, we're gonna burn the whole place down, just all these little stories and stuff. It's cool. You get like Officer Dick and Uncle Phil, and you have all these random characters. That's great, whatever. But just like it's just too Tony Hawk specifically, it's just way too cartoonish for me. And
Well, the graphics were cartoonish, the graphics, but I could see something like that in a high quality game. Imagine high quality graphics with a good
see, I,
storyline
I
like
I
that.
dig that, but when I would play Tony Hawk, when it's like, all right, cool, it's the Tampa Am, here's a crowd, here's your objective score. All right, I'm like, all right, awesome, you know what I mean? Obviously, they're all AIs, so it's like I'm not really achieving much, but it's still nice to be kind of indulgent in that aspect of the skateboarding community to be, at Tampa or whatever, little pipe dreams. But the other stuff where it's like, go grind the glacier and knock the penguin into the water. I'm like, what the what? What does that have to do with anything? I could ruin the whole board. I could go in the water, get waterlogged, and then they started to go ahead.
Well, yeah, it got a little
They,
too arcadish. But I mean, imagine like you have those storylines, and then you got these virtual reality headsets on, and you're looking through the eyes of the skateboarder, and you got Bam Margera talking at you and telling you that you got to go knock that penguin into the water. Like, then it's like, I mean, the penguin in the water might be kind of silly, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they need to adjust and innovate here and just go beyond
I
what's been
applaud them
done.
if
It's
they
getting stupid.
adjust and innovate. I do not if they conform. Because for me, I think it was actual Skate 3 where you could grab your board and you can hit pedestrians with it. And to me, that like,
Right.
I personally don't like violence. I don't think a lot of people really do. But it was just one of the most unnecessary things, to just grab my board. I'm gonna smack this lady because she's walking down the street and she's blocking me. And I'm like, why do you have to do that to her? Bro, you got the whole world and stuff like that.
It turned Skate 3 into GTA. Yeah, man. I don't know. There's a lot that needs to be done. I'm tired of all these games feeling the same. They're all starting to feel the same to me. And it's just going to make a problem because a lot of people have Skate 3 and then they're going to be willing to go get these other ones and then they're going to realize that they're all the same. There's nothing different. And it's going to the trend of these skateboarding video games is going to go away. That's what I'm scared of
I
happening.
think Skater XL is going to be the prodigy of skateboarding simulators. Skate 4 is going to come out. It's going to have its 2-month, 3-month trial period, and then it's just going to fizzle out, and it's going to have a couple failed attempts of updates. And that's just my crude opinion about it. But Everyone's gonna be like, skate forward
Wow.
next month, skate forward, bro. I'm gonna get my mom already put, and
Wow.
then like they're gonna play and they're just be like, I'm sure it's gonna have its cult following. Don't get me wrong.
Interesting.
People will probably play it for another 10 years, but it's momentum. Just like the TikTok thing, it's momentum. You know what I mean? And too many people are conforming. As far you have Skater XL. They made the game almost out of the blue. Granted, they had this Skater app they were working on. They launched Skater XL and they said we're coming out with it. I don't know how close that was to the release of Session, but they had a one track mind, one track vision. They made their simulator. To me, I think it's wonderful. It's a good game. There's little tweaks I could do here and there, or that should be done in my opinion, but it's what they want it to be.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful game. I mean, yeah, no, it's hard to be critical of it, but I'm certainly trying to be critical of all of them because I think they all deserve it for all being the same. But that's not to say that it's not a wonderful game and that they haven't done a good
Poor
job.
Golden, he's like, I can't believe you said that about the Skate series, bro. After this podcast is over, he's blocked. No, but then
no. But speaking
all
of
right,
which,
see you
man, it's been
later.
good having you on.
Next February. But Skate, the franchise, it was a wonderful awakening from just this. I'm trying not to be vulgar. Just the stuff that was coming out of the Tony Hawk and Neversoft. They call it Neversoft, but they were never hard. You know what I mean? So when Skate came out, it was just a change on everything. Proportions were all proper. Everything was beautiful, and that's why it gained such a cult following on it. Because it was a well developed game.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's what people say. That's why people, I think, like True Skate better than Skater App, right? I mean, the proportions are better. The physics are better. You can't really, I mean, in Skater App, we can jump across a whole map. You can't really do that in True Skate without pulling some fancy, glitch type of
Mm-hmm.
maneuvers.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So we shall see. I have been trying desperately to obtain a copy of the original Skate demo for the Xbox, and then I want to put that into an emulator on my phone, and then connect the PS4 controller and just play it anytime I want.
Ooh,
It's so
tell me if you
incredibly
make
hard
that
to
work,
actually
because I
find a
would do
little
that.
copy of that demo. I'd have to find somebody who still has one of those storage whatever for the Xbox that actually has it on there, and then you have to extract it. And it's a huge process and probably not even worth it. But I've been trying to find a way to get Skater XL also on the PS Vita.
Ooh. Have you heard of other people doing these things, like the skate demo? Have you heard of people doing that
This is just
already,
my
or is this
hopes,
just your
because if you go
unique
walk
idea?
around with Skater XL in your pocket and it's full functioning, no leg whatsoever, I'd be chilling all day long. I mean, you can do it if you have
Interesting.
Wi-Fi. But with a simulator that's fast acting, like the skateboarding one, you're just going to lag by probably zero point 0.7 seconds, which can make all the difference.
And it'd be really cool if you could actually make that happen. I would want to do the same. I imagine other people would too. You definitely need to try to find that demo.
Yes, sir. But I don't know. Probably it's like $40 or something. Just for a demo.
If you can work out all the other kinks of it, I'll pay for the demo just so that I
Yes,
can
sir.
I
And
can
what
see
I'm
it
gonna,
happen.
I know it's kind of off topic for your podcast, but what I'm interested to see is if they are going to rejuvenate the BMX as well as the MX Cross simulators.
Ooh, yeah. See, that would be cool. Is bringing BMX games back to life, dude. I
Hmm.
loved the Dave Mira games, like on the original Xbox. Oh my god, that was fun, dude. They need to bring BMX games back to life. Nobody's doing that.
I
Everybody
would play
forgot
Matt
about them.
Hoffman all day long. He hit the wheelies, bar spins, and it was a wonderful game. They didn't get too saturated either with the storyline.
Oh, Right. Those were fun, dude. I'm gonna need to go buy an
Probably
original
$40.
Xbox.
Hell, probably more nowadays. Honestly, with the whole nostalgia.
I could do that. Nah, dude. I just
Yeah,
sold an
but that's
Xbox
360 though,
360 for
boss. That's
$40, dude.
plentiful. And some of them are
Oh, I
plentiful, and
see
then
what you're
some of them
saying.
you have to worry about the ring of death and everything like that.
I got the Ring of Death. One time my friend came over and he thought it would be funny to like lock me out of my own house. So he literally he somehow tricked me to go outside, and then I walked out the door. He closed the door behind me and locks it, right? So he's dancing around in the house just sort of putting on a show, right? And then he goes over to turn on my Xbox, like he's just going to sit on my couch and play my video games, right? I'm watching him turn on the Xbox. As soon as he presses the button on my 360, it gets the red ring of death for the first time ever. And he just turns around. His jaw is just like dropped. Like he just turned on my Xbox and gave it the red ring, dude. It's so funny, dude. I'll never forget that moment.
Yes, sir. I bought a 360 once, and it already had the ring of death. So I was like, whatever, bro. I don't know why it's turning on red, but it's not turning on. Let me check the cables, and then I actually bought it from a kid off Craigslist, which it's whatever. But I buy a lot of stuff on. I mean,
That's
I
too
don't.
funny.
It's a skateboarding podcast, but I go for days. I used to hustle on Craigslist. I used to dumpster dive and sell this stuff on Craigslist.
Yeah, people are doing that hardcore now, man, because Gary Vee's just talking everybody into it. People are making good money at that. I've got a friend who was doing that for quite a while. He was even going to like Goodwill and stuff and picking stuff up and just flipping it on eBay and actually making some really good money. He would like send me screenshots and it was
Yeah,
like, dude,
Gary Vee
this is
has been getting a
insane.
lot of attention. I presume you've probably seen him on the TikTok.
Yeah, I don't get shown his videos because I don't care to see his videos anymore. I think my problem with him is that he is causing too much supply for the demand. I think that his whole thing of everybody needs to go post 7 times a day is just going to create too much supply. There's just not enough people consuming content for it to all, be seen. I just don't buy into the whole idea of just posting until something pops. Like I said earlier, I think what I've come to notice is that viral videos have something that makes them novel. If I see a video of a dog laying on a living room floor, guess what? That video has 1 like because anybody can make that video. But if I see a video of a kid doing a backflip on a skateboard, it's like, well, there you go.
Hmm
That was novel, right?
So I also wonder too if because we followed each other and we had a lot of interaction, if that kind of depicts what you will also see on your feed as we are acquaintances of similar interest.
It's very possible. It's very possible. You never know how deep these algorithms go, right? I mean, they could go a lot deeper than we realize, or they could be a lot more shallow than we think they are, right? We might think they're this really deep thing, but then in reality, it just has to do with, 1 or 2 things. Nobody knows, and these companies are so scared to tell anybody.
That's
They
the
try to
best
keep
thing for
everything
them,
so
honestly, as a
confidential.
business model, because if they give away the secret, then everybody's blowing up, and then they have no more structure to it.
Well, right. That's the thing, right? Is that if they just tell people this is what you need to do, then everybody will go do it. So it's understandable, but nevertheless, I mean, it just creates a whole bunch of speculation, and none of us know whether we're talking in the right direction or whether we're not. But hey, man, I think we have a hell of an
I
episode
try,
here,
I
man. So
try
I'm
not to
very
stutter
happy
too
with how this
much,
turned out.
just be all dead space, dead air.
Can't have that, man.
Absolutely.
The pressure's
If
on, man.
anybody wants to check out my underrated mediocre content. It is Mr. spelt out Mister underscore chivalry Chivallry. It's not Misty Shivels. It's Mr. Chivalry.
There you go, man. Yeah, definitely be sure to go check out Mr. Chivalry. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever you can, everywhere that you can. Be sure to go subscribe on all platforms. And thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of Golden Thumbs Gaming. Together, we will become the #1 podcast in gaming. All right, man.
20 more seconds, and it's going to be a full hour.
We're knocking them out,
so
man.
we just got
Oh boy!
Got to banter on for a little bit. Send me a trick request later on that you want me to do on a Skater XL. All right, here we go. 3.
Yeah, man, I'll send you some requests for sure. 2, 1.
Alrighty, take it easy,
Happy
boss.
New Year.